to kind of run everything like it's, you know, you're running Star Trek. All right. So, well, listen, guys, thank you very much for coming and joining me on this. It's sad that we're not all together. I've done West Coast Songwriters event many, many times, and I always love the event. And it's sad that we haven't been able to do this. I also run my own camps called Songwriter Camps, and we had to take all our stuff online. We just finished a 3-day film and TV sync camp for our attendees. We were writing songs for briefs for TV shows and movies, and it was fun and it was great. But it's nothing like being together, you know, in a room talking and doing what we can. So I appreciate you guys being here, and I'll tell you, I don't know, I'm sure if I've met some of you. Some of the faces look familiar, but if you don't know me, I'll tell you briefly a little bit about me. Obviously, I'm not from here or from Glendale, which is where I live in California. I'm originally from London, England. I moved to the States nearly 19 years ago to pursue music a little bit more. I'd run a recording studio in the UK for a number of years. I was in a band there and toured and did the usual nonsense. Never got signed, unfortunately. But I decided I wanted to just be a writer after the band fell apart, and moved here and just kind of started digging into what I thought, you know, I needed to do in LA, which is, you know, try and find work and just meet as many people as I possibly could. And I actually started attending these kind of events. It wasn't West Coast Songwriters, it was another event called Durango Songwriters Expo, which some of you may know actually if you've been to it. It's wonderful. It's another wonderful songwriters get together. And after a few years of attending that, I got very fortunate. I won a songwriting competition, and that just changed everything because I got signed to a publishing deal with a company called Peer Music here in Los Angeles, and that was where it all kind of started for me. So I then started getting cuts, and just everything changed. So, you know, I was very fortunate. You just keep going and keep going. As you can see, I'm not a youth. I have a lot of gray hair. And so I'd been doing it a long time before that pendulum shifted to the other side, where I was thinking, this is ever going to happen. And I'd almost given up, to be honest with you, songwriting. I was looking at doing, you know, composing for film and, you know, television, and doing actually scores. And that Durango where I won was almost the last time I was going to see how the songwriting would go. So if I can tell you anything about, you know, this process, tenacity wins out. It's those that stay in the game the longest are the ones that tend to succeed. And it isn't always based on huge amounts of talent. Talent is a massive part of it, but tenacity is another big factor. You just have to stay in long enough so the other people fall out. You know, that's kind of the way it works. I know it sounds weird, but, you know, Guitar Center in Los Angeles, which I worked at for 3 months once, not a high point in my move here, was full of people buying gear. And I thought, these can't all be people making a living out of music. You know, a lot of them are amateurs and people just play music. But then you think, wow, that's the town we live in, is millions of people coming in, millions of people leaving, and you just have to stay long enough until you kind of rise to the moment where your time hits. So anyway, so that's where I come at it from. I've written music for film and television. I've written music for libraries. I've done tons of film and TV stuff in terms of sync. I've written for artists. I've done the label thing. Oh, somebody else is waiting. Let me let them in. So I kind of come at it from very different places. You know, I've been a mentor for a very long time. I teach. Hi, Diane. And so there's various ways I can come at these songs for you. If you want me to just give feedback based on generally songwriting, great. Production, great. You know, in terms of other things that we can be looking at, which I think is the focus, is how would it work in the marketplace as it exists right now. We can look at that as well, but be a bit specific. If before we play your song, let's talk about what it is you're trying to achieve with this particular song. Is it pitching for other artists? Is it your own artist project, or is it a film and TV thing? And then I can focus in on that. You know, if you just want general stuff, then general stuff is fine as well. Sound good? Good, great. Bobby Joe, I love that. Is that a radio behind you? What is that? I can't hear you though, man. You got to unmute.
There we go. There's always going to be one of them, and that's me.
Yeah.
This guy right here is a CD player and a vinyl player and a cassette tape player and a radio.
Nice. Wow. Cassette tapes. I have a few, but if I put them in a tape machine, I think they would just strip all the oxide would probably come off after all these years. But anyway.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Everybody's got a great backdrop. I like it. Lots of very nice guitars in the background for everybody. Okay, so I have this in no particular. I had it in an order that was sent to me. So I have. I'm just going to see if Bobby Joe. No. Oh yeah, Bobby Joe. There you are. Of course, right. That's right. I was just talking to you. So Bobby Joe, I got sent some songs. I'm not sure if yours came through. Can you tell me what your song was?
Yeah, I think that I'm just going to play it off the CD here, and I can share the screen for my lyrics if that's cool.
Yeah, brilliant. Fantastic.
So this one is called Carry Me Away, and host disabled attendee screen sharing. Well, that's okay. We'll just do the...
Well, no, actually, I think I can make you a co-host, I think. Let me just see if I can do that.
You should just be able to allow screen sharing.
Yeah,
well, no, he has to be a co-host though to be able to do that. Okay.
No, not at all.
No? All right, that shows you how much I know. Well, Bob, why can't he share his screen then, Suzanne?
Yeah, if you go into your settings as a host, let me just think. I think it actually is where you can hit the share screen button. There should be a little arrow.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Well, I can share, but I'm the host. But multiple parts of and I can say multiple participants can share simultaneously.
Sure. Yeah.
Is that the one? Okay.
Try
cool.
that.
Great. Thank God I've got you on board. Love that. Thank you. All right, Bobby Joe, try that.
Okay, this is a yes, and it's a. I don't think it's going to work out. It's trying to make me go to system preferences. And
oh, weird. Okay. Well, can you stick them in the chat? Is there a way to do that?
Let's see.
Just drag the file to the chat area.
Chat, yeah. Oh, I think I got it. Do you guys get it?
Oh, all right. I love it. Okay, carry me away.
This is okay. Literally. All right.
Yes.
Oh, my fearful heart. They say it's safe here. It gets so hard sometimes. I need a brand new start. I pass these city streets beyond their borderlines, and I fought my demons down. And when they finally fell, oh, what a graceful sound. You saw me through the crowd. You came and found me. You wrapped around me. Oh, my love. Carry me away, carry me away, and oh, my love, carry me away, carry me away. Oh, my unclean hands, where have you been at least? Tell me these wounds are mine. I need a brand new plan. I need a brand new plan. One where before I leave, at least I look inside. And I tried to fill my cup. With such ambition that it almost drains me. But it all comes down to love. It came and found me. It wrapped around me. Oh, my love, carry me away. I've seen it all before. And oh, my love, carry me away. I want something more. Oh, my love, carry me away, carry me away. Oh, my love, carry me away, carry me away. Oh, my love, carry me away, carry me away. Oh, my love, carry me away, carry me away. I want something more. on that borderline. And I thought my demons died. And when they finally cried, oh, what a graceful sound. You saw me through the crowd. You came and found me. You wrapped around me. Oh, my love, carry me away. Carry me away. Oh, my love, carry me away. Carry me away. I want something more.
Great. All right. Yeah. I mean, I could get most of it. I think in terms of so difficult when you're doing it through a microphone on a computer. But tell me a little bit about this song, and this is you singing, I presume, yes?
Yeah.
Great. Voice sounds great. I mean, again, it's hard to get everything on there. I think I heard a trombone. I think it was a trombone. Is it a trombone?
Yeah, trombone. Yeah.
You don't hear it very often these days, which is always nice to hear something like that. So tell me a bit about the, you know, this is obviously your project, your artist thing. What's the song for, and what is it you're kind of trying to achieve with this track?
Yeah, well, I made it. This song is from my album Fox Eyes, and
Cool.
Fox Eyes Whale Heart, and there's a whale on the back.
Nice.
And I released it in 2016. I've been a full-time artist for 10 years, mainly making money on touring.
Sure.
But I never got the I never made time, I guess is the way to put it, to get inroads in the TV and film scene.
Right.
And there's this one, and then 2 other albums that have songs that I'll play for you that I feel like are at the level where I would love to submit them to TV and video. The tracks on there are just really solid and sharp,
Right.
and fun. So that's kind of what I'm thinking of doing, is taking these 3 albums and really getting the right songs and starting to make inroads in the TV and film industry for pitching.
Right. Well, listen, you know, the song has got lots and lots of, you know, potential in terms of, you know, that kind of upbeat, happy. I mean, it's been done to death to a certain extent. So you are kind of coming on the back end of that curve because, you know, but they're still being used. That's the good news. You know, we just did this camp recently, and I was surprised to see that they are still, right now, especially in commercials, they're looking for stuff that raises people's spirits up.
Right.
Even if the messaging is you know, still dramatic, they still want the music to kind of give some level of hope beneath it. And your song is all about hope.
Yeah.
You know, musically. The thing with lyrical content, and this is where sometimes film and television can be difficult on catalog music, because what happens is when we're writing as artists and writing songs just for the moment and what we're kind of, you know, trying to tell the world our story, is that story is very specific to an emotion, a feeling, and a moment in your life, and you're going to drill down quite heavily into the actualities of it. Film and television, and that's fine, you know, and eventually a scene will come along in a movie that just happens to match up lyrically with what you're trying to pitch at the time.
Right.
Sometimes what will happen is, you know, you will have the perfect song, perfect title, perfect music, imperfect storytelling, not because of the song, because of the scene that they're trying to land it into. So, you know, it's just a warning. It's not saying that your music won't land. I'm just saying that the expectation sometimes is that, wow, this song is fantastic. Yes, it is. The lyrical content's good. It's written well. It's sang well. It's played well. And then you go, why the hell has it not landed in a TV show? Because it sounds like stuff that I've heard in TV shows. It always comes down to lyrical content, because they're always looking for something that is a little bit more ambiguous around the subject. Now, your song actually, and I can't see the lyric anymore, but if you could show it to me one more time, and then I can just dig into the weeds a little bit on this one.
Okay.
And I'm talking broadly because I think the good thing about these listening sessions is everybody gets something out of everybody's listening. It's not just about your song. You'll get something from the things that we're talking about. Okay, so here it's actually fairly ambiguous, right? Oh, my fearful heart, they say it's here, but it gets so hard sometimes I need a brand new start. These are just general subject matters around certain things, and we can all relate to that. Our past, these city streets beyond their borderlines, I fought my demons down, and when they finally fell, oh, what a graceful sound. Now we're kind of getting a bit more in terms of what's happening to you, in terms of what you're talking about. What a graceful sound. You saw me through the crowd. You came, found me, and you wrapped around me. Now, that then means that lyrically, if it's going to be underscoring something and it's featuring the lyrical content, some of that needs to be happening within the story that we're telling at the time in film and television. Ads probably wouldn't buy into this song because it's very specific. You could strip this lyric off and call it Carry Me Away, oh my love, carry me, and just write a completely different lyric around it, and just be general about love of friendship, love of family, ambiguous love that's not about you and I sort of thing, because they're the ones that they always gravitate towards in terms of commercials, because they can't have, unless again it's like it's for a an engagement ring commercial and it is about love between two people,
Right.
then they're going to want two people love. But most of the time they're looking for love songs that are around the subject of togetherness, about love of family, love of friendship, love of other people, but not in a very specific sort of way. So
oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
yeah, no, go ahead. Questions.
Just to agree with what you're saying, and I was looking at the lyrics here, and I could even make it a lot simpler and therefore broaden it to the audience. I was looking here, and I just saw, oh my fearful heart, I need a brand new start. I fought my demons down. You saw me through the crowd.
Yeah, I mean, it could be.
Yeah.
Those things. Look, I don't. At the end of the day, you don't want to destroy a great song for the sake of sync. What you can do is the next time you write a song like this, you continue to be the artist and the writer that you are, but you pay attention to what possibly might lose the sync for you, and that's generally the way this kind of works. There's a couple of things in here. The rhyming scheme in here really is interesting, because it's oh my fearful heart, that say it's here, safe here, but it gets so hard sometimes. I needed a brand new start. I passed these city streets beyond the border lines, which is obviously the heart and the start and the times and the lines. But because the stanza itself is quite drawn out, it feels like the rhyming scheme for this particular song doesn't sit in natural places. It makes sense when you read it, but when you hear it sang and with the gaps between the lines, you lose that rhythm and of the rhyming. Apart from that, though, I really like the song. And as I say, without being able to hear it in full fidelity, I think if you're writing these kind of songs, they are definitely sync friendly. You just got to pay attention a bit more to the lyrical content, and that's a research thing. Go, and there's plenty of playlists. There are all over Spotify. They're all over Apple Music, and TV shows tend to put up their own playlists as well. Dig in and start listening to what subject matters work. When you're watching a TV show, listen to the songs, go find them and pay attention, and they will really help you kind of refine your writing. And it wouldn't be a bad thing if you've got all the masters and you've got all the Pro Tools sessions or whatever sessions you have. If you said, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do an EP. I'm going to go back in some of the old songs that I know musically work and melodically work. I just got to play with the lyric a bit, redo them. Hang on a second. I've got to let somebody else in. I think Chris, here we go. Is maybe revisit, or you do a project where you bring in, you say, okay, I'm going to do an EP, and this time I'm going to laser focus in on some of the things that you want to do for film and TV. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to move on to the next one. Otherwise, I mean, guarantee we're gonna run over, folks. I'm the worst for keeping time on these sessions. So
And I actually have a one-on-one, so I have to dip out. But I just want to say thank you so much, Richard. This is
you're
really
welcome. You're
Yeah.
welcome. Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. He's gonna go. Okay, fine. Right. Who's next? I have Becky. Where's? Oh, Becky. There you are in the top right-hand corner for me. Hello.
Hello. A question I wouldn't usually ask ahead of time. So I have a song that's kind of, engagement-y, wedding kind of song that I was thinking of playing.
Yeah.
Would it be better to play something sort of atmospheric and unique? So basically I'd been in the business a long time, but took a break, and I just released a CD about 3 years ago with, production mastered, ready for sync kinds of stuff. And I just kind of curious how to get it out there. So curious what you think you might want to hear.
Well, honestly, I'm always down to hearing what you feel is your best representation of your music, and if there's a specific sort of needs, like, okay, I've got these tunes and I want to get them into trailers, ads, or film and TV. Play that song. If you wanted to, I'm more than happy for you to play like a verse and verse and chorus of one and a verse and chorus of the other, rather than playing the whole song. So it's entirely up to you. Now, I don't know if I got your music. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think I got it in on time, so I can play it off here. I can give you Spotify links, but I'll just play it from here, I guess.
Yeah, can you, and as everybody can share now, can you share your audio?
Sure. And I'll share my screen too.
All right. Oh, look, there we go. This is fantastic technology. It's amazing.
All right. Amazing.
Amazing, darling. All right.
All right. So I'll just play sort of the first verse and chorus. Feel free to wave me off, say, yeah, I got it.
Okay. And then you can play the other one.
Yeah.
Trust you as its guard. Keep my love, it only will grow stronger. Even on the days when love is hard. Our day is now, the time has come. These links we make won't come undone. Forever you will be my love. My love so strong, forever's barely longing
Cool. Let's move on to the other one.
Sorry, what?
Move on to the other one if you want to play the other one.
Yeah. Sorry, I got too many things open.
Oh, I get it. Don't worry. It's all good.
I haven't been to a song screening in a very long time.
Ah,
All right. Where did it go? Come back. Oh, sorry, it was up here. Let's get the new finder. Good God, I just lost it. There we go. Come back. Anyway, you can start making comments on this while I'm pulling that up.
well, again, it's you singing.
Yeah.
Cool. Great voice. I think it depends on it for film and TV. It'd be it's a very specific usage. It's got a very specific kind of idea in terms of love story kind of thing, not the movie love story, but and it has a throwback vibe to it. So it's probably going to be, if it would land in anything, it would probably have a more like, romantic comedy sort of throwback vibe to it. You know what I mean? And that might get its placement. I don't see a lot of these kind of songs being used right now.
Okay.
And I
Right, then
think a lot.
I can move on and,
No. I think, and this is a very interesting point. Look, and I say this with the greatest respect. If you if you're writing songs and you have an artist thing and it has a very certain flavor to it, I'm the same. I have a voice that just reminds everybody of Elvis Costello, and Elvis Costello is great, but there's Elvis Costello, you know what I mean? And unless they want to replace an Elvis Costello, I'm not going to get any love. So what I tend to do is be very, very strategic in terms of, okay, look, this is not for me. I can sing it and I can sing it well. However, it's not going to land anything, particularly unless I get an Elvis Costello pitch and that they can't pay for Elvis because he's fantastic and fabulous and expensive, but I'm not. I mean, I might be slightly fabulous, but I'm certainly less expensive. So it gives them an opportunity to use my track. However, those come up very rarely. So for me, I look for artists that feel very current and are used in the kind of shows that I think the stuff I'm going to write is going to work in. Think about that. That's not because you can't sing and you don't have a great voice. It's that you sing in a certain style, like I do, which probably won't get as much look as if you were to find an artist and you go, this is an artist I really like, you know, the independent artist, and bring them in as a demo singer, you know? So, I mean, that's just a thought. Okay, let's play the second one.
all right.
Troubled times, troubled minds, hearts break and cells divide. Now the eye of my soul is open so wide. I can't find the rhythm, though often I have tried. Moving out of a bad place, moving into a new space, going, shedding my skin, getting bigger from within. You pay the cost of paths that cross. You looked at me, but I'm at a loss. Broken glass, I cry, not laugh, but I still think we're on the right path. If we're moving out of a bad place, moving into a new space, growing, shedding our skin, getting bigger from within. Oxygen.
Cool. So tell me a little bit again about this one and plans and aspirations.
So these were lyrics I wrote a long time ago, and I got into the studio and it just felt a little more, it was resonating. So it was a song that I started playing again, but it's an older song for me.
Okay. But tell me about the aspirations for the song itself in terms of, okay, do you still want to try moving into the film and TV with this kind of one?
Yeah, whether there's something sort of an atmospheric sound. So on my first album, I got, a song placed under dialogue, on various TV shows. And I'm just thinking I just need to start networking again and finding out, who I can funnel things to of, hey, here's this new album. And I kind of really,
well, this is obviously a game that everybody from big, massive, major labels are doing all the way down to independent artists. So, you've got to start where you have a circle of influence, right? And the circle of influence for you is anybody within your network that can connect you to either music supervisors or outlets. And I was talking to somebody last night doing like a one-on-one mentoring session, and it's, this whole business is built upon two things: content and outlet. We can create music all day long, and I know we all do. I'm sure you've got a catalog of hundreds, if not thousands, of songs. I know I have, and it's a hard drive full, and it means nothing unless there's somewhere for it to go to. And we have to create these channels of outlet. And for an artist, it's playing live, it's connecting on social media, but in terms of as an independent writer, then it's got to be through artists, our outlets, our publishers, labels, and stuff like that. And then as artists that are trying to go for sync, it is generally going to be sync houses and music supervisors. Sync houses being the likes of Riptide, and I know that that Rich and Ellie have been to West Coast Songwriters before, and they're very active in that space, and they act as kind of a representation. They rep you basically to film and TV. And if I'm telling people how to suck eggs here, I apologize, but I'm just giving a kind of an overview. So your job really is to find an outlet for it. There are online outlets. There's a company called Song Trader. You may already be aware of it. It's SONGTRADR.com, because it's cool and groovy not to use vowels these days. It's all consonants. So songtrader.com. And they're very active in the space. Musicsupervisor.com used to do stuff before. I'm not sure if they're still around anymore. But there are a few of these online companies. You may even get a music library that may be interested in some of these. The only thing with music libraries is they tend to be, work for hires. They would buy out the catalog, and you would lose your publishing and the master rights in those. So it's all about what you want. But now you've got content, you need to find outlet. And I would encourage you, because you write well, is to open up your collaboration pool, find other writers to work with, other artists to work with. One of the greatest, because I was writing for a long time for artist stuff, for labels and stuff like that, and then I kind of made a change and started focusing in on sync a little bit more. And for me, that was about freeing up this control aspect of my writing and saying, I need to bring people in who work well within this space. And it changed everything for me. So it's almost like what it was like when I got a publisher. So for you, I think it's now finding those outlets. Riptides of this world, Secret Roads, the Low Profile, the Zinc. These are all representation houses that will look at catalog and see if it's something that they feel they are lacking in, and they know there's an outlet for them. So it's all about creating channels of outlet. And sometimes it's removing those channels of resistance as well. So, okay, what is it that's not connecting? Finding your collaborators and your partners that give you all of that grease to kind of make things run smoothly, and you just increase your chances, So hopefully that helps. All right, well, you need to move on. Otherwise, again, we're going to be incredibly late. We're already half an hour in. Oh, dear. So, yes, let's move on to the next person. Can we stop sharing your screen, Becky? That would be great, darling. Thank you. There we are. Brilliant. Next up, I have Roger. How are you, sir? I need you if you unmute.
There we are.
Ah, there you are.
Hi. So, so a tune I put together kind of in the vein of your "Say Something Beautiful."
Oh, wow! My song "Say Something Beautiful."
That whole concept, yeah, as well.
Right.
That sense.
I've never had anybody write a song where they've referenced one of my songs. Well, thank you very much.
There you are. So I'm going to put the lyrics in the chat.
Yeah, please. And you have the song with you, right? Because I don't have it.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Cool. And welcome to Chris and Ben, because I haven't had a chance to say hello to you guys yet. So welcome.
So the song is called "Can Love Remain," a working title.
Okay.
It's about a discovery after years of relationship that goes very wrong.
Oh, right. Okay.
But the concept is forgiveness.
Good.
beneath the skin, below the.
I'm going to start that again.
Okay, cool.
Sound good?
Beneath the skin, below the bones, behind the farce of a frozen smile, the grief within is only shown when heart and mind are reconciled. The cut is deep, the blood is red, inside the hole of the severed vein. The mud reveals the ruptured ring that will not come together again. That will not come together again. We witness the unseen sliver. In angry words we say, forgiveness is the river that washes wounds away, that washes wounds away. Can love be found in the beating heart? Can love be found in the streaming tears? Can love be found if it's torn apart? In troubled lovers where it first appeared. She feels the cold tile under her feet. Nothing prepared her for love to die. She conceals the smile, her heart in retreat. Compared to the truth, she preferred the lie. Compared to the truth, she preferred the lie. We witness the unseen sliver. In angry words we say, forgiveness is the river that washes wounds away, that washes wounds away. We witness the unseen sliver. In angry words we say, forgiveness is the river that washes wounds away, that washes wounds away.
Cool. Tell me a bit about this song then. I mean, obviously you're in the, the early stages, I'm presuming right now. You say it's kind of a
Correct.
work in progress, right? Gotcha.
Correct.
Well, I mean, look, the good news about forgiveness songs is there's always a place for that in film and TV. And I'm presuming you want to talk about film and TV. There is some specifics in from the lyric and I'm hearing, and I can't see it, so I can't tell
Oh, it
everything.
didn't come up?
No, it didn't come up, but it's all good. I kind of got most of it. I think again, it has a very specific story to it to a certain extent. It's not he said, she said. It's not so much that, but there are some specifics about it that would definitely have to lean itself to a scene where we're looking for forgiveness. Now, they might just lift out the tagline and play with that. Obviously, for me right now, there's some, songwriting kind of feedback. It feels quite long in terms of trying to get to that second chorus. I'm a pop guy, so everything for me is, it's not hurry up and wait. It's like I've got to get back to the meat and, the gravy of the song. Right. So, even though I'm a vegetarian, so I shouldn't say meat, but gravy and vegetarian gravy. Yeah, cool. So I think, you might want to tighten things up a little bit, and then you've got to decide. It sounds like, is it you singing on it right now?
Yes.
Okay, you're probably going to need to find somebody to be an artist on this, I would think. Again, nothing against your singing, but I just think, unless you turn it into something which has a definite throwback vibe about it, which your voice fits, then you put yourself in the bracket of, okay, here's a piece of music that's going to have a very specific sort of usage, but it also might mean that there's not a lot of it about. you know, because they're dipping into either old catalog, which can still be quite expensive, and replacement is not, there's not a lot of it there, purely because everybody's concentrating on fresh, new, this is what's happening now. So all of us that are doing this on a full-time basis, just busting that shit out all day long. So you're then filling up, you're then jumping into a, you know, a kind of box of cereal that's full of the same stuff, and they, you know, you have to search through it, right, to find what you're looking for. With you, if you're going to do this kind of, if you're going to do throwback and sort of, and it's not vintage because it's not that far back, but
Actually,
if it's
it's
kind
not
of,
my plan to do
no, okay,
throwback.
all right, okay,
I'd like to get a different vocalist to push
great.
it forward. So
Cool. But I mentioned that purely because there's sometimes you can do that. You know, there are chances are, you know, if you do a great sort of version of the Smiths, you know, you've got that kind of sound and that's the kind of vibe that you do. Well, you know, Morrissey and the Smiths are not cheap to license, and there is not a lot of people redoing that kind of music right now. So you, and that's just one example of a
Cool.
thousand I could give, you know, but you can go down that route. But yes, in this case, look, it's, for me, it's always about figuring out what your target is and walking it all the way back. Now, I don't, the creative part still has to come from this inspired moment of, you know, churning out our souls and writing music. However, if you then, before you produce and hone and craft, you can then look and go, okay, now this song probably could work there. What needs to happen for it to fit that? And you can then start deciding on production choices, artist choices, all those kind of things, and go, okay, I need a male vocal on this, I need a female vocal. Does it need to be sweet? Does it need to be edgy? You know, does it have to have some grit to it? And those things you can make decisions after you've written the tune, in terms of how you're going to target, what are you going to land in terms of sync. So so yeah, those are the sorts of choices that sometimes you have to make. It's, you know, it's, some people find it difficult to make those because they feel it's commerce taking over, you know, art. But at some point, art and commerce have to meet if you decide you want to make money from it. And if you don't want to make money from it, then feel free to do whatever the hell you want. You know, and some bands do that and it lands and everything else, and then it becomes a thing, and then da 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 da. But that's the, you know, that's the choice of youth. Sometimes they have a bit of time on their hands and don't have bills to pay, you know, because they're eating ramen and living with 5 other people in an apartment, you know. So, and so, you know, we tend to, as when we start going, okay, I want to do this for a living and I need to pay my bills, then you have to get a little bit more conscious of the commerce side of it and what is the requirement to make money, because there's so many people vying for those spots in film and TV shows.
So I guess my question would be, with all that said,
yeah,
pushing it forward, do you see it in a more contemporary light?
Yeah, well, listen, again, well, it depends. I mean, it really is about your choice. I mean, that's the thing. You are the hard, you know, you drive that shit whichever way you want to drive it, you know, and what makes you feel excited. There's no point in you going to go, you know, I'm going to take this, I'm going to make it like a Bishop Briggs type track. and you go, but I hate Bishop Briggs. Then you're going to make a song that sounds like somebody hates making Bishop Briggs music. You know?
And I do.
Yeah, there you go. See, or Imagine Dragons. You know what I mean? So, you know, you find something that connects to you on a creative level and a productive level, and you say, this is what I want to make, and these are the choices I'm trying to, and without losing sight of what you're trying to achieve with it. It's not an easy dance to play, to be honest with you. You've got to find soul in it. You've got to find heart in it, because it becomes then mechanical, and music is not mechanical. It's way too connected. And trust me, I've been there. I did it when I was writing for labels and writing for publishers, and I ran out of steam because I was writing songs I hated, because I was trying to write songs that maybe Kelly Clarkson might like and Katy Perry, and I love those artists, but when I'd written 50 of them and one got close, and then you think, oh fuck, I can't do this anymore, this is driving me mad. So you lose heart. So I don't want you to lose heart. But so the balance between it being great and targeted and still inspiring.
Sweet. Thanks so much for your time.
Oh, my pleasure, Roger. All right, who is up next? I've got Susan. Is it Wageman? Susan, is it
Wait.
Wageman?
Yes, it is.
Oh, cool. I'm not sure. I've got your song called Coffee at Midnight.
You do. Good. So are you going to play it there then?
I'm going to play it there, and I'm going to share the audio with everybody. Let me
Would
just,
you like me to share the lyrics?
yes, why not? And let's see if this works. I gotta. All right, now let me just. Oh, now I've kind of lost my page. Hang on a second. So tell me, everybody, if you can hear this, okay?
Yes.
Cool.
Now we can't.
You muted it.
Yeah, now we can't hear it.
Drinking coffee at midnight, it's too early for my day to end. Been working so long, gonna see this day from end to end, to end, to end. Sunbeam shining on my coffee in the morning time. The sun shines brightly on my coffee, drink it all the time. If I don't stop soon, I'll be working from 9 to 9 to 9 to 9. Gonna break for coffee when the morning's half done. Then a break for coffee when afternoon's not done. Lunch without my coffee, you know I'll never get anything done. Not done. Dinner and coffee, oh, it's so refined. Oh yeah. Dinner than Irish coffee to keep my feet in time. Walking with my coffee till the sun sinks below that line. Coffee at midnight, too soon for my day to end. Drinking coffee at midnight, it's too early for my day to end. Been working so long, gonna see this day from end to end.
Oh, nice.
Thank
All
you.
right. Sorry about if you want to unshare your screen.
Oh,
Susan.
yes, yes.
Thank you. Cool. Well, listen. The good news is people love coffee songs. You know, they there's a song that was that's in a Dunkin' Donuts commercial right now, and I don't know if anybody's seen it. Yes? No? You guys don't watch TV. Are you sure you're quarantining properly? Okay. And it's a huge song. It was a great song. I can't even tell you the name of the band that did it, but it's a recent release, and it mentions coffee in it. It's a beautiful song, and Dunkin' Donuts used it, and I'm sure they paid through the nose for it because they're using it all the time. So coffee songs do get used, and they will get used in TV shows. And I mean, you've thrown in every single coffee reference known to mankind in the lyrics. So, I mean, you've tried to cover your bases as best you possibly can.
That's
I
my
think,
life.
yeah, but okay, well, apparently so. So I think, let me put, because I actually do have that lyric here. Let me just pull it up again because I can then show it from here. Again, this song has a throwback vibe to it, especially with your vocal on it. Now, I think you need to ramp that up a little bit. I think, you know, this isn't a case where this would actually, you could do two versions of this song, you doing it in this kind of old school, sitting on a porch singing about coffee song. And then you could do something a little lighter with a much more, probably more, what's the right word, kind of modern sounding singer-songwriter vibe about it. And you would then open up various different sort of opportunities for this song. And this goes for everybody, actually. You can do that. You know, they're your songs. You can do tons of different versions of them. And I know music supervisors sometimes like full versions with the band where they've, you know, amped it up and done a full production, and then they actually love a stripped down acoustic vocal version as well, because they will use both in a scene sometimes, because the scene has a dramatic, you know, arc to it, and it starts off quiet and soft and intimate, and then it turns into this big dramatic ending of the show, and every, you know, there's bombs going off and or whatever else is going on, and they then amp up the music as well. So there's a chance to have two versions. You probably wouldn't have this, but it gives you two options. There was a Cadillac commercial yonks ago, and it was an old blues song that they used in that, and it was, and I don't know where they dug it up from, but it's a great song, and I can't remember if anybody remembers. But anyway, it was perfectly used for that thing, because I think even Cadillac's mentioned in the song itself. You know, you could you could totally amp this up and make it feel very old school, and that would then find its place. Your vocal would work perfectly on it if it was stylized a little bit more in terms of the production treatment, so it sounds a little bit more like it's coming off a 78 rather than it being, you know, recorded in Pro Tools. You know, those, and that's, again, that's me being strategic about the use of the song. Is that, okay, we've got something here, I hear an obvious usage straight away. Let's ramp up the idea of the production and the presentation, and then let's do another version that's a little bit more singer-songwritery with a, you know, young guy or a young girl. It doesn't have a young guy, but young girl, but who has that kind of stylized voice, and read and do another version, and you might get it. My only concern lyrically is that you don't ever really stay in one place. So for them to use this over a period of time of a 30-second, 60-second commercial, it's got a lot of references to coffee and a lot of references to different points in the day. That could burn you a little bit, rather than you giving us a little bit more about what coffee at midnight means, and then moving on to daytime and all that stuff. Then you possibly would have more of a chance at it sitting. But there again, there might be underscore, and they'd end up pulling out half of your vocal anyway, and then just bringing you at the end. It's coffee at midnight, or sunbeam shining on my coffee. So
I mostly play in jams, so
right.
the music typically has, and I play with a dobro player a lot, so there's usually dobro breaks, and then there's usually one or two breaks with like everybody who's in the room, which can be quite amazing. It almost never crashes and burns like some songs.
No, I mean,
that, I know that's not what we're talking about here, but I can imagine different settings because I've heard it with many different instrumentations.
Right, and you just got to make a choice and decide which way you're going to go with it, and that's the strategy part of it. Just planning ahead and realizing, okay, this is where we're going to take it. You know? And
then there's the where do I go with it.
Oh, well then exactly. Well, that's what I was saying to who was I talking to earlier? It was well, he's gone now. Is it Roger? Anyway.
Yeah, I did take notes on that. So
yeah. And this is being recorded, so I think it'll be available to look at afterwards. Yeah. So yeah, no, I think you know, you've got to start finding your outlets for it, and those outlets are music supervisors, there are song traders, there are the sync houses, that sort of thing.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're more than welcome. All right, we're moving on because I am way late. And I apologize for that, guys. But there's a lot of information always comes out. Robert Crane. Where are you, Robert? Up in the right-hand corner for me.
Right here. How are you, sir?
Yes, how are you?
Very good.
Good. And now I think, do I have your song? I don't think I...
You do not, but I'm prepared to play it, and I can share my screen and put up the lyrics.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And I must say, I do love all the guitars hanging up behind you, sir, I must say.
Can you see the lyrics there?
I can. Alone in this together.
This is obviously written about COVID, and
Right.
the message is that you're not alone, even though this title says "Alone in This Together." This is recorded by a band, and this is sung by Maria Moldauer.
Okay. Excited.
The purpose of this song and putting it together was to figure out a way to raise money with it to donate to children's funds, because schools are so hard hit right now,
Yeah.
and teachers in schools need resources. And it was sourced because the UN wrote an April 15th article that they anticipated some hundreds of thousands of children under 5 would die in third world countries, not from COVID, but they would die because they can't get to the school that had the supplies or the clinic, so they've been cut off. So "You're Not Alone" was the theme, and hopefully it would be picked up and used in that kind of way.
Cool. Excited to hear it.
I will sing this song for you so that you know it's true. You are not alone. Won't you sing along with me? And together we will be alone in this together. If we sing out loud enough, when the times get really rough, someone is bound to hear. They'll start humming this same tune and realize real soon we're all alone in this together. We're all alone in this together. We are all alone in this together. Baby, I've got you, and you got me too. Yeah, we're all alone in this together. We've been covering our faces and sheltering in places where I'll try to keep our loved ones safe. If we show a little kindness, we can cure ourselves of blindness, and the world will live to see a brighter day. I will sing this song for you so that you know it's true. You are not alone. Won't you sing along with me? And together we will be alone in this together. Baby, I've got you, and you've got me too. Yes, we're all alone in this together. Baby, I've got you, and you've got me too. Yes, we're all alone in this together. We're all alone together. We're all alone. We're all alone. We're all alone. We're all alone. Sing this song with me together. We're all alone in this together. Sing this song alone together. us together. We are not alone.
Excellent. Cool. Right. Well, Robert, cool. Tell me a bit more about this too. I mean, I love the sentiment of this. Obviously we're all, dealing with this, the pandemic and in various different degrees, I suppose. Some of us have been very fortunate, I suppose. I mean, I have two small children and my wife's a school teacher. And so we're managing to kind of get through the day and I work from home. So, I've considered one of myself to be one of the lucky people in terms of how this is, hang on a second. I'm getting a message. Richard, would you be able to stay a bit longer for those of us thinking? Oh, yes. Don't worry. I'm going to keep going until we do all the songs. Oh, yeah. No, we keep going. I apologize for us running over. But yes, I'm going to do everybody. And those of you that are still to be done, trust me, that it doesn't cut off at 1 and I go goodbye. So, and we're all going to get covered. So thank you for asking, though, because that's a good point. So tell me a little bit, and if you could unshare the screen for us, that would be great. Tell me a little bit about, now that you've kind of put this out there, what has the reaction been, and what is it you're planning to do next with the song?
Did I unshare the screen?
No, not yet.
All right, how's that?
Oh, there we go. We're good.
So you are absolutely the first people to hear this song.
Oh, okay, cool.
So it hasn't been shared with anyone yet.
Right, okay.
And what I'm looking to do is to get some participation from other artists perhaps on it too.
Right.
And I would like it to find its way to a fundraising nonprofit that can give it some wings and use it as a theme. And
Sure.
any monies that are created for me, the songwriter, the producer, the artist, and all of the people that were involved in this are all going to be donated 100% to the nonprofits that use it.
Right, great.
And if no nonprofits pick it up, I've chosen my own nonprofit that I've supported called One World Children's Fund. It's in 13 countries with 32 schools in third world countries and takes care of about 250,000 children. So I've already been contributing to that cause because they need the help.
Sure.
So
Well,
if it could find its place into a commercial, if it could find its way into a cause that's already being put together, but the artists don't have the song together, those are places that I would like to see it go.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, I think it's one step at a time, isn't it, really? I think the best route for you would be to get a partner on board that would be one of the nonprofits. I think that raises its profile straight away. I think all of these things, bees around a honeypot, man. The music business is terrible at that. They just don't take a chance as much as they used to. And even then it was pretty poor. But if you start getting people sniffing around, everybody starts circling, whether they like it or they don't, to be honest with you, they just smell money sometimes and they just start circling like bees around a honeypot, So I think, your best bet with this would be to find somebody to come on board with regards to a nonprofit. I think the sentiment is right on point. I think in terms of the writing, I think you oversold the payoff line too much. Alone in this together, it towards the end, it's like you're beating it with a hammer, and I think it loses its impact if you overuse it. Now, coming from the pop world where we literally take one line and sing it 5,000 times over the course of a 3.5-minute song, that sounds kind of trite to say it. But with this kind of song, it's a ballad. I think you've got it in the tagline of the verses, and then you kind of milk it a bit more in the choruses. I think the song for me right now feels a little bit too long. I would tighten it up, especially at the end. These kind of dragged out, not dragged is a awful word, I didn't mean it like that, but when it's played, songs are played live, you can expand and do kind of cool things and do a little bit of ad-libbing, but all you're doing really is adding, for a song that's going to be released, you're just adding content that a radio station would just go stop and move on. They're not going to
play. I did not have an outro when I wrote it.
Right.
But the group got together and said, let's put this outro on it and this other piece. So we could stop it right at the end before the outro
Yeah,
and
I
then
mean, if there's
beating to death wouldn't happen.
yeah, that would be it would be an easy. And that, again, this is when you're in a band and you play live, it's totally different. It's songs that just live in a different world when they're alive. I was in a band, so we milked everything we could because we didn't have a lot of songs, so we had to fill out 45 minutes. So we some of the songs got extended to 6 minutes, so we did what we could. But I think for this song, I think you would be nice if you could tighten it up a little bit. And if you can't, you can't. Look, that's just note for future reference. In terms of commercials, again, they would have to be looking at something that had, because it has it resonates, it's played really well, it's sang really well, but it still has a throwback sort of production and presentation style to it. And they might want a fresher approach to how you would do it. It feels and don't take this wrong, it's kind of got a Melissa Manchester sort of kind of vibe about it. And I don't know where that name came from, but I'm old enough to remember Melissa Manchester and all that era. And it has those kind of vibes about it. I think you could do another version of it if you found that you couldn't get a partner on board, and then you were going, okay, sod this, I'm going to go for watch out for Dignity Health commercials. They're out right now, and I know the music supervisor on that one, and they use a lot of these songs. The sentiment of your song is absolutely perfect for commercials right now, totally and utterly. They love this kind of thing because they want people to feel there's some hope, in a world that's, on fire in so many different aspects right now. So that everybody needs music to help them lift themselves out of this sort of thing. So that's the way I would do it. Chris, I've got to worship with a friend. If you're not listening to the song, I'll say, oh, Chris, sorry, mate. I can, listen, I can bring you up now as the next one if you can bear with us for another 5 minutes. And you were pretty much going to be the next one on my list. So, yeah. Okay, well, listen, Robert, I'm going to have to move on, but I really dig the song. There's just a couple of notes there, but you obviously know exactly what you're doing as a writer and stuff like that. So good job. And
thanks, Richard.
Good luck. All right, Chris, let's open it up and play your song. It's called Augusta, right? You're muted, mate. I can't hear you.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, I didn't want to rush you. I just
no. It's all good. I need to push on, and I need to get so I get to see everybody. I know everybody's got busy days. So let me just play this song. I'm going to share my computer audio, and you should all be able to hear it. Really.
And you don't have to play through the whole song. I was curious about just the production and my vocals. How, could you imagine it being placed in a show?
Okay.
What would you do differently? Things like that.
Cool. Okay, cool. Let me play it.
Running off to where the earth meets the sky, oh Montana. The Sun River on his skin at night, how he missed her. In the wild all alone, the wolves they come and the wolves they go. And he runs and he won't stop to his sweet Augusta. Loves those barns and those old homestead shacks. It's where he always goes. Well, he came to her empty-handed. The wolves they come and the wolves they go. And he runs and he won't stop to his sweet Augusta.
stop it there. It looks like Chris had to leave halfway through his song. Oh God. Okay, well, I'm going to send him a note and tell him what I think about that.
Isn't this being recorded, Richard?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So you could give him the comments and he would get it in the recording too.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so comments are, it's produced really, really well. Sounds great. Vocally, I think it's cool. I think he needs to ramp up the kind of treatment on the vocal. Needs to have a bit more of a I've been drinking whiskey for like 100 years vibe about it and smoking cigars. It needs some more grit in there. I think it would sell it more. I think it's in his vocal. He's being too kind here. So, and these sorts of songs do find their place. They're not particularly licensable. They have to be very specific to shows. There's a show called Yellowstone right now that uses kind of stuff that sits in this kind of this vibe, but it really would have to be a little bit more gritty. But I think overall it's a really nice song. We're superly well played. I like the melodies and everything else. So I think for Chris, I think he just has to just treat the vocal a little bit more. Don't be afraid to be who you are. And there's an element of the vocal that doesn't sound completely convincing right now. So he needs to ramp that up a little bit. And I do vocal production all day long, and it's one of the hardest things to get people to disconnect from that being in front of a mic and getting somehow connected back to what's coming from here through here rather than from here through here, which is a completely different animal. You know, if you think too much about what you're singing, it's going to sound like it. You have to disconnect the brain and let the heart tell its story through your voice, you know. All right, let's move on because I know we're running way behind and I'm so sorry about that. Okay, I have, I think, who's here and who isn't. Okay, I know Susan, yes, you're up next. Suzanne, should I say? Sorry.
Yes, Suzanne.
Suzanne. All right, Suzanne.
Yes. So,
this song.
Yeah, so I actually, I was trying to pick between two. Okay. And I don't know if we could do, again, like a verse and a chorus from here or a verse and chorus from there. I didn't know that might have been a possibility. This one is really particularly for like my artist signature sound. It's going to be released on my album. I think it's a little more quirky and idiosyncratic for licensing. But I still, you know, I submitted the song, so I think it's good.
Yeah.
The other, I do think I feel like it's ready for a sync, or at least it's on its way, and it's called Redefining Perfect. And so I'd like to play like a verse and a chorus from both of the songs.
Okay, which one are you going to play first? The one you've got there, and then we all play the one I've got here.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, I've got it right here, and I'll minimize this, and there we go. And then I'll also share, whoops, let's also share my screen here with the lyrics. All right. Let me share with sound. Okay, you can see this? Okay. Let me know if you can hear.
To
you're beautiful, perfect, and need no reason. You are flowing like the water, as endless as the sky. You're redefining perfect. Love is so weird.
Yeah. You're on mute.
Thank you very much for telling me that. Let me share with you this other one. Here we go. This is mathematics.
What if God was just like a number everywhere and nowhere? And I am the X in the equation I solve for Y. Can I do something about a problem I can't figure out? How about I leave it to my calculator creator? What if God was just like a spiral day?
All right, cool. Stop share. Okay, cool. Well, that's very different from the other one, obviously. Well, listen, look, I really like your voice. There's a tone in there that I really, really like. It's kind of got that air in there, and it's always nice when you feel that, because I feel the organics of your vocal cords, and that sounds kind of weird and bizarre to say that, but it's nice sometimes to hear the humanity within the sound, you know, so I can actually feel bits of your throat moving together to make that, which connects me to you and connects me to the emotion you're singing about at the time. So it's nice when you as a vocalist have that built in. Not everybody does naturally, they do, but it sometimes doesn't translate into a microphone, and you have that. So I think this is your greatest strength here. I think it's something that you need to just really hone in on. The songs are cool. I think this one is so busy in the piano, it would be very difficult under picture for it to do something. But there's no reason to say that you couldn't make it something else, so that it wasn't so busy and it wasn't so percussive, so that you could turn it into something. I think for you now, you've got to decide what is the presentation? Is it just piano and vocal? Or are you going to try and move it somewhere else?
Yeah, you know? I'm going to move it through production. These are just like the home demos. And yeah, mathematics is not really intended for sync. That's really just for like my album.
Right, and there's choices that you can be making with that kind of arpeggiated sort of pattern in there that could be something that wasn't even piano-like, that could just give you that sense of the harmonic movement without it being so dramatically pulsating, you know, and because you're doing these gentle things over the top, it kind of pushes you out of the way, and I'd rather it didn't. The first song I really, really liked. I think, again, you know, your vocal styling, it feels a little Billie Eilish, and that's not because you got blue hair, but it's just, it has that kind of vibe about it. That's not a bad place to be, because nobody can afford her anymore. So it's really, as a sync house, they would like to hear stuff that kind of, well, it's not Billie, but it's, you know, it's Suzanne. And she brings her own thing to it, but it also has that kind of vibe about it. So that's a good place to be. So, and that's, then you've got to be strategic about, you either are strategic about your production in terms that you go, okay, well, I see a familiarity, or you just go, okay, I have to develop something that's uniquely me, that speaks to the lyric and speaks to the artist, and envelops it in a sound that makes it cohesive and you You know, this is again one of the biggest issues of all artists that find it, and I did it as an artist and found it incredibly difficult, because the difference between going into a studio and recording a song is not producing a song. That's just people playing on a song and following the harmony and maybe giving their vibe and their feel to it. You know, that's why producers are so incredibly important. And back in the day, they weren't really like a lot of us nowadays, which are just sitting in front of a laptop making music. They are there to pull out elements of the playing to support the producers and the artist's vision of what the artist should sound like, right? And that's why Quincy was so amazing and genius at that sort of thing, because he brought in all these amazing players, and then he found a way to create this thing that supported the artist's vision and gave them a sound. This is what you have to do now to make it cohesive. So when people listen to you, look at you, see you perform, it's recognizable by the production on the record. And that is not easy. I can't tell you how to do it. You just have to kind of play with it and find its home. You know, you're doing something that's unusual, and that's always a good place to be. So if you want to be strategic about it, then start listening to lots of TV shows, go and listen to playlists, dig into what they're playing, find those shows that you think would be using your kind of music, and make sure there's elements of what they need in there, you know, lyrically, sound wise, and everything else. But you're in a good place, because your vocal, which is always the focal point, is compelling. It pulls me in, and that's the stuff that you need to just make sure everything supports that. Make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
Cool, great. All right, let's move on. Who's next up? Diane is next. And we're nearly there, folks. Sorry it's taken so long. Trying to get as much information out as possible. I don't know where you guys. Oh, and by the way, Suzanne, I had to ask you, what is the backdrop? Where is that? Am I going to guess Scotland Island, somewhere like that?
Outer space.
Not that one. No, on your screensaver, your screen on your desktop.
Oh, right. That is, where is that? I think I lost the location. Oh no, that's actually Marin Headlands.
Where's that?
That's right north of, am I still sharing my screen?
No.
It's right north of San Francisco.
That doesn't look like San Francisco to me. It looks like
it's the Marin Headlands, but you can see the Golden Gate Bridge right there.
Oh my Lord, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Holy cannoli, who knew? That looks like the Scottish Islands to me. So anyway, all right, thank you. I mean, I must make a point of going and seeing it once all the smog clears, and of course we got rid of all this horrible smoke, unfortunately, God. All right, Diane, what do we got here? I think I have your song here, darling. So tell us a little bit about it.
Okay, it's supposed to be a bluegrass song.
Oh.
I don't play guitar, so I don't have all the other instruments in it. But
all right.
I'm not really looking for film and TV specifically for this song. I'm just really like some other bluegrass bands to pick it up and play it.
Right. All right. Okay, let's play this. Let me share my.
Yeah, I couldn't figure out how to get the screen share to work for me.
All right, no worries. I've got the music here, so let's play the song. You should be able to hear it. Everybody hear it now, okay?
Did your toast fall jelly side down? Did your smile turn upside down? Did you catch every single stoplight? Did the neighbor's dog keep you up all night? You might be unlucky, you might be blue, but there's always a ray of silver light coming through. Just hold on to your hope, hang in there on that rope. If your glass is almost empty, it's a little bit full. May you have joy throughout your day at various points along the way. May you have happiness in your heart that counteracts the gloomy parts. Oh, misery.
misery loves company. Sometimes he comes to my house. He tells me about all the bad times, and then I show him out. I need him to leave, 'cause I've got things to do. I've got to pick some flowers and some four-leaf clovers too. May you have joy throughout your day, at various points along the way. May you have happiness in your heart that counteracts the gloomy parts. Oh, I've got serendipity, enough for you and me. I hope that you can come to my tea party. May you have joy throughout your day, at various points along the way. May you have happiness in your heart that counteracts the gloomy parts.
Excellent. Cool. Hang on a second. I've got to get to my before I play something else. Good job. Okay. Am I muted? No, I'm not muted. All right. Unshare. Where are we? Let me pull up my screen so I can see you. Oh, there you all are. All right. Well, listen, bluegrass is definitely not my wheelhouse in terms of expertise. So I am not going to even try and tell you how to write a bluegrass song. I do know a few artists, and obviously thanks to Oh Brother Where Art Thou, I was introduced to a lot more bluegrass than I probably had ever listened to in my life, which was a wonderful movie for those who have ever seen it. So I think for you, Diane, it's a case of finding, again, it's those outlets. You know, if you need to connect to bluegrass artists, I think it's about finding, and thankfully online these days, there are so many groups, there's Facebook pages, there are all sorts of things that you can dig into to connect with your community. You know, again, this business of ours is built upon community. It's not built upon anything other than that. I mean, again, talent is given. You have to have all these other bits and pieces, but when I talk about this thing called outlet, you know, your network and your community is everything. So if you're not already part of groups of bluegrass loving music people and artists that are gathering together in, you know, groups online, because right now you obviously can't go to shows or festivals or anything like that, I would find these people and find your collaborators as well. I mean, a lot of the songs I've heard today are all solo rights, you know, in a lot of cases, and probably the greatest education that's ever happened to me was when I moved to the States. I pretty much written exclusively for the band. The band's members weren't really, you know, writers, so I did all the writing, and so when I kind of got into the States, I found this community which was all about collaboration. And if you go to Nashville, it's all about collaboration, you know. And I found that my songwriting just grew exponentially by these amazing writers that I spent time in a room with, who I learned from every single time, whether it was a positive or a negative experience, to be honest with you. So you should start growing that network out for yourself. You know, you write by yourselves. It's always important that you can finish a song by yourself. I think it's a dying art. There's a lot too many songs that have 12 writers on them, and I don't know how that works in a room. I know it doesn't, because it's always about people adding little bits and pieces here and there. But for you, I think it would be really important to start growing that community for yourself. And it's a pity these events can't happen in the flesh, because then you get to just meet people at the bar, and you get to meet people in the as you're eating lunch, and you'll find your people, you know. So, but you're going to have to do that online for the time being, and then start looking for artists that may be accepting songs from the outside. It's difficult. You really need a relationship with these. You can cold call, and it can work sometimes, but the truth of the matter is they're probably more than, unless they're not writing at all for themselves, and then the song is so compelling, it's like, okay, we have to do this song because we'd never write this song. It's just so good, and it's so a perspective that we wouldn't bring to it by ourselves. So you know, and those accidents happen a lot. But for you, I think right now, song sounds good to me. You know, I like the sentiment about it as well. It's positivity despite all the drama that's within the lyric. There's positivity in saying, you know, there's hope. You know, those are songs that everybody needs to hear right now. So you're in a good spot with that. Find your community, find your outlet, and even, I would say, continue to sing as well. Again, there's a fragility in your voice that I kind of dig. So I think if it was worked right in a studio, there would be enough in there that you could use to put something together that would work very well in that kind of environment, that sort of bluegrass environment, for my blood. So
Thank you.
good job. Good job. All right, we are down to our last two, and I have Ben up next.
Hello.
How are you, sir?
Good. How are you?
Very well. Despite
do you have my song?
I do. I have. It's called
Oh.
Carry On. Yes.
Yes.
Cool.
Do you want me to share the lyrics?
Yes, please. And let me just share the audio first. Otherwise, I might not get that thing back. Okay, hang on a second. It's telling me something. Is this?
Oh, no.
Don't share your computer sound while other person. Okay, can you shut your screen down for a second?
Sure.
And then I will share my audio first, and then you can share. Here we go. Now you can share your screen, and I should be able to do both then. Here we go. Okay, let's see if this works. This is your song, Carry On.
He was met with the black face and oceans of justice, and sand in his eyes made him blind to the day. He walked on the water, drowned in oppression, water into wine, watched our country decay. Carry on, carry on. With the knee in his neck, he started the fire on tablets of stone. She showed us the way. They marched to forgiveness to the beat of indifference, with a boot up your ass and nothing to say. Carry on, carry on. With one drink of water on a hot day, with one drink of water, who knows what they might say. Carry on, carry on. They cried in the streets, blood running over, one man standing who beat me today. 400 years, lives didn't matter, people survived, will come what may. Carry on, carry on, carry on, carry on.
All right. Great. Well, that is a very timely song right now, right?
Yeah. Recently written, yeah.
Yeah, I can tell. So tell me a little bit more about what you would love for this song to do. I mean, it's obviously so relevant to what's going on with Black Lives Matter and the country and what needs to change, and so tell me what I mean, I can understand why you would want to write the song, but where would you like to see it go to? What's the kind of the ultimate sort of goal for you?
Well, I perform in local cafes, and I just moved up to Washington State, so I was playing with some other folks. So I'd like to find a band to play my songs.
Right.
But this particular song, if some sort of political group sort of wanted to run with it as sort of a theme, or if it just, if a group wanted to play it that that was interested in politics and a certain message, and bring that to perform it, that would be great. Or if there was a show that was sort of focused on the same theme,
Yeah.
that would also be great.
Well, yeah, of course. And I think, what's important about music, and I think it's been sadly lacking in probably the last decade, I think, is this: musicians have been too scared to politicize music. And I think if you look back to the 60s and 70s, and nobody was afraid to talk about their experience. Pop music generally tends to gloss over people's problems these days and just pretend it's all okay and focus on the shiniest toy in the room. And that's not denigrating that kind of music, because we all need those songs of release where we don't really want to live the life that we're living already again, and while we're listening to music, because music is our escape sometimes. But I think it's incredibly important that these songs exist. I think it's, for you, I think, what I like about it, in terms of the recording, because the recording's pretty raw, and it feels very folk-like, and it feels very much like a community of people singing the song. And that, for me, I think is a good place to be. You could, go in and do a very, commercially polished version of it, but it might lose its kind of marching in the streets type vibe about that. And I think that's an important part of what this is. As far as getting it tied into a political thing, that's really about you doing your research. I mean, I spend too much time on Twitter, following people whose opinions about the world I respect, and I see a lot of people posting about political movements, and a friend of mine, she wrote a song, and I guess it's trying to drive me mad because I can't remember the title of it now, and it kind of became the theme song of the Women's March, which happened not long after, Mr. T got voted in, and it started this. It became part of the movement through no kind of, I think it just happened to work that way. So this is kind of a song that could definitely go that way. And I think you just have to, again, like I was saying to Diane, is connect with these people if you're not already doing it, and sharing the song, with that, no intention other than to say, I have written this song and it's me talking about the very things that you guys are being active about, and I would love you to listen to it. And you never know, they might just then go, this is going on the next video we cut together. We're doing a montage and we need something, and before you know it, your song's cut to picture. And I think you just have to be as active as possible to create that momentum for it. And in terms of film and TV, it's, again, you've got to find those shows. Documentary stuff tends to be library driven as opposed to music supervisor driven. So, but that doesn't mean to say it doesn't happen. Again, that's making connections and building out that network and finding the people that are making, those kind of TV shows where it's very much talking about, current affairs and what's going on. So yeah, I think it's a great tune. I commend you on just talking about this subject. It doesn't get, thankfully it's in the public consciousness now, and I think the danger is now it just doesn't get buried again. And I think if we need to keep picking the scab off, and songs like this will keep reminding us that we need to talk and we need to find, our voices, and hopefully the future will will be a better one for everybody, you know. So I think, you know, you've done a great job here. Just again, find your partners and just keep pushing it. You'll have to, now you've done the hard work of writing the song, you have to do the hard work of being promotions manager, PR, and everybody else these days. But thankfully, unlike what it was like 30 years ago when, you know, we were in bands. I mean, my band was 20 odd years ago, and there was no access like we have now to the world. You know, it was all controlled by gatekeepers, and that gatekeepers were radio and venues and record labels and publishers. And without a lot of that behind you, you couldn't share your music without playing a show in some, you know, horrible place that, you know, would allow you to play on a Friday night. So now you have an opportunity to share your music with not only your community, in terms of the community that surrounds you, the community of the world. You know, it's right there at your fingertips. You just have to dial in, and it's going to take it takes a bit of effort, and it can be dull and terribly boring, but you'll get to meet some really cool people around the world, and you have no idea where one of them connects to this song. This could end up being the song that everybody plays on the streets in Portugal. You know, it could just become that song there, and then it spreads back. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think just don't remember, it's not just here where the Black Lives Matter movement is. It started here, but it's spread worldwide. So the opportunity for this song is out there for everybody, you know, to dig into. So good job. I like it a lot.
Thank you. I really appreciate your comments. Those are really helpful.
Absolutely, Ben. No problem at all. All right. I think who we got up last? Roberto.
Yeah.
With the fine speakers that I've been wanting to buy for years behind there, but I can't afford them right now. And they're too big anyway, those ones. I'd have to get the other ones. But anyway, tell me about this song. I Want to Go to Piazza Duomo.
Yeah, so basically originally I'm Italian, so I live in the US for maybe 20 years like you.
Yeah.
And I just want to go back to Milan, and I try to do a funny songs and about happy song about going back to Milan. Right. And usually I'm a punk rock musician. I produce some punk rock, but now I'm doing like electronic music. It's my first electronic music song. So my idea was that just put in YouTube and get it viral, but didn't happen. So I don't know if maybe as a possibility for some kind of TV or maybe like a travel agency, travel industry, something like that. I don't know.
Cool. All right.
Any input from your side is good.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, let's play it.
Piazza Duomo, come with me to Piazza Duomo. Oh, 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 Piazza Duomo. I want to be in Piazza Duomo. We will have a lot of fun. Let's have fun in Piazza Duomo. Yes, 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 yes. Piazza Duomo, there are a lot of people. We will have a lot of fun. In Piazza Duomo, a lot of fashion models. Yes, 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 yes. Oh, 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 come with me. Oh, 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 across the sea. Oh, 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 let's have fun. Oh, 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 in Milan. You will see a lot of pigeons. You'll be glad to be in this place. You will like to walk around it and sit down, down, down Milan. yes, 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 yes.
Excellent. Well,
Thanks.
I can hear you. I can hear your punk roots in there, even though it's more of like Euro electro.
Euro electro, yes.
Oh yeah, it's totally in there. So, well, listen. I mean, it's gonna have to be very specific usage. It's gonna have to be about Milan, right? And I mean, it's almost like I could see it in a spot with Paris Hilton in Milan walking around being Paris Hilton. You know what I mean? That sort of thing, or the Kardashians being Kardashians in Milan. It has a comical element to it, and I'm not sure if that was intentional or not.
Intentional, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. This is a tough one. I don't want to, you know, kind of take it because it's got a tongue-in-cheek thing about it. You know, it's that song, I'm Too Sexy for My Shirt. You know, that song that was a huge hit back in the 80s, 90s. And I don't think those guys have ever had to work again off the bank of one song because it still gets licensed to this day. And they probably still tour on the back of that one record. I think they had 2 or 3 songs that did okay in the UK, but that one was the one that made. So you know, this kind of sits in that sort of world. But I don't think the only thing for me with the vocal on this one is the vocal. I hear the punk in it. I don't hear enough of the punk in it. It's almost like you've tried to turn into Euro pop guy. And I think you're still stuck in your punk roots. And why would you pull that out of yourself? I would really play up that you're mixing up 2 genres, and even to the point where you could even throw a bit of a punk sort of guitar riff in there.
Guitar, okay. Guitar riff, something like that. Okay.
Yeah, don't try and be what you're not. And I appreciate you want to move more into the electronic thing, but you know, the electronic music business is probably more fickle than anything else in terms of, you know, what kick we're using that day, what, you know, snare sound we're using.
Specific sounds, yes.
Yeah. So I would dial it as much into this Euro electro thing as you possibly can, and throw in your punk flavor. Then you've got something that has a more unique sound that's not trying to be washed out by the other, you know?
Okay, I see.
And that for me would then probably sell it a little bit more. I don't understand some of the lyric when you're saying the Chiaparat and the, I can't say because I'm terrible at guitar.
It's a local language, some kind of local language.
It's not that I can't understand it. I couldn't really understand it because it was buried in the track. So
I see.
So, you know, if you're going to scream those things, make it more like gang-like and make it a little bit more punky.
Okay.
And one of my favorite lines is, "You will see a lot of pigeons." I've never seen that lyric written in any song ever. So, and of course, it could be about Trafalgar Square because in the UK, Trafalgar Square is just pigeons.
Trafalgar Square, yes, similar.
Yeah. So I think, mate, keep doing what you're doing. And again, you know, finding a niche is sometimes a great way of finding some sort of success, because if you're doing something that not a lot of people are doing, that opens up a whole world for you, because you want to be something, you're going to try and do something that nobody else is doing. If you're going to do this, you got to go. Yes, everybody.
No, I have a suggestion.
Yes, go ahead.
So a lot of trends now, I think, for videos are started on TikTok these days.
Yeah.
I was imagining like an Italian model dancing in the Duomo in Milan as like a video on TikTok, and then other kids like doing dances on top of the same music to in their own scene, right?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Yeah.
That's an amazing idea. I mean, that is actually a brilliant idea. I think
that's great. Yeah.
TikTok is the land of, you know, just everything, because YouTube was that world, and I think TikTok more is these days. So yeah.
Okay.
Good idea. I'm not sure how you do that in terms of how you get your music up on TikTok. I think you obviously need to have an account. But
I need to do some research about that. I don't have it yet now, so it's a good suggestion. I will try to look at it.
Yeah.
It's not very difficult.
No.
Okay,
And,
great.
and you can make that music available and free to use for everybody to kind of dip in. But if you did a TikTok where you got somebody to do exactly what Ben was saying, then you know you could add a whole bunch of value to it.
Okay, great. Thanks, Ben. Thank you,
Absolutely.
Richard. Thank you.
Hey, Richard, I had a question for you.
Yes.
I've seen you come here a few times before to West Coast Songwriters. I've been in a few of your other screenings. I've really enjoyed your comment and your insight. And one of the questions I have is, when you come to a conference like this, especially this particular one, is there something that you hope to find that you're looking for?
Well, you know, anything that's compelling. You know, to be honest with you, these conferences serve me in many different ways. I get inspired by other people's approach to music and their perspective on lyric writing and melody and stuff like that. It's I get to obviously connect with a lot of, you know, fellow writers, and there's nothing better than being amongst your own community, because only we understand what it feels like to be in front of an empty page and then figure somehow this magical thing happens and you create art, you know, and we share that common feeling and aspiration, you know, in terms of what we're trying to do, and we want to share our voices. But yeah, I'm always got my ear open for something that makes me sit up and go, wow, okay, that is unique. And that happened to me the last time, because I wasn't there last year. It was the year before, it was 2 years ago. I met a girl there called Maven, and she was extraordinarily talented and so unique in her approach, and it was just one of those moments. And she was playing on that front lawn that looks over the bay, you know, and it was blowing a gale and it was freezing cold, and she was standing there playing the piano. And I forget, I was sitting with Alan Rich, who's a writer that was there, and we both went, oh my God, this girl's amazing. And I subsequently have worked with her as a producer, and I mixed her last record, and she just did this sync camp that I just ran, and she's just extraordinarily talented. So
kind of catching lightning in a bottle, then, you know, you're looking for something like that that touches you.
Yeah, yes. And sometimes it's not even for any other reason other than just to listen to their records. You know what I mean? It's like I've worked with a bunch of people from the conference, but there's some people I just love listening to their music and have stayed in touch, you know. So yeah, it's always about continually being inspired, you know, by other people's art, and these conferences are great for that. But they're also a great rallying call, and I hear great music and I think, I need to step up my game. I need to go back to work and I have to work harder, you know. So this is always a good place. And educationally, because I'm always trying. I'm not a young kid, you know. I'm not 20. I'm not 30. I'm not 40. You know, I'm beyond those years. So I'm trying to keep fresh all the time. I'm in the trenches, and I gotta keep abreast of what's going on, and I keep my foot firmly in my roots in terms of where I came from and what I loved, but I also want to continue to be inspired. I've listened to those records that I listened to 1,000 times. I dip into them just for memories, but I don't want to stay in them. I want to move the envelope forward for myself and for my music, you know. So hopefully that's a way too long an answer for that, but anyway, that's kind of.
No, I appreciate it. You know, you're here and you're sharing with us, and you're giving us great comments, and you're giving us feedback. And I just wanted to find out, well, what do you need and what are you looking for? So when lightning strikes, we'll send it in your direction.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, just listening to all your music today is just inspiring. You know, it's always nice to hear what's going on outside my own little bubble. You know what I mean? And what subjects people are talking about and being brave to talk about. You know, it's always somebody, you know, life sometimes pokes you in the side and just reminds you maybe doing things, you know, you could be doing better. And that's why we do art in the first place, I suppose. Anyway,
thanks, Richard.
Thank you so
really
much.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you
very much.
Everyone's music.
Stay safe out there, everybody.